Hi there, I'm with Sober Curious experts Dr. Richard Piper and Dr. Alex George, and we've just wrapped up on our live event on rethinking drinking, but we didn't have time to answer all of your questions, so here are a few more for you now. The first one I'm going to ask to both of you actually. People are wanting to know if there are any helpful podcasts, books or other resources that you'd recommend. What would you say, Alex?
Can I be biased and say at my YouTube channel?
Absolutely, because it's great.
I'm trying to make videos every week that help support people. But for me, I mean, Unexpected Joys of Being Sober by Catherine Gray and Sunshine Warm Sober, her second book, I think are really good books. She actually talks about, first of all, kind of what it was like when she was drinking and her realisation of life quitting drinking. Then Sunshine Warm Sober is actually great because it kind of focuses probably more on alcohol-free living. So I'd recommend those. There's lots of podcasts as well, aren't there, that people recommend?
So I would say Millie Gooch has got a book called Sober Girl Society, which I think is great. Catherine Gray and Millie Gooch are both ambassadors for AlcoholChange UK, and they've got both of them got blogs on our website, so check those out. And then They Think It's All Sober. There's a podcast. I think really, really interesting guests. Check that out as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Alex, I know you've been very open about your ADHD diagnosis. It's something we've spoken about before, so this is a good one for you. I was diagnosed with ADHD recently, and I've heard that alcohol can make it harder to manage. Is that true?
I think the truth is with alcohol and ADHD is that it's not a good answer if you want to keep drinking, I guess. It doesn't help at all. In fact, I'd argue that alcohol makes all the things that are kind of bad about ADHD worse, so like impulsivity, rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria, which is one of the biggest things people find difficult with ADHD, and also things like mood swings as well. All that kind of gets worse when you drink. But also alcohol numbs all the beautiful parts of ADHD, the creativity, the kind of hyper focus and things like that. So I don't know, from my perspective, and certainly when I look at what happened to my life, and actually all the people I've spoken to with ADHD say actually when they reflect on it, alcohol just doesn't help. My advice, personally and honestly, almost as a friend to anyone watching that has ADHD, just stay clear of alcohol if you've got it, honestly.
Okay, really good, clear advice. Thanks for that. We've also had a few people write in to say that they've got friends or family members who've either decided to moderate more or stop drinking, and they want to support them. So what's the best thing they can do, Richard?
Well, I think number one, be a good mate, be a good sort of ally, I suppose. There's a blog on our website by me called I Was a Sober Shamer, and I was. Right. I was someone that if people weren't drinking around me, I found that challenging, and I would make life uncomfortable for those people. So don't be like I was, be like I am now, which would be a good friend, a good supportive partner. And sometimes the things they need might be quite challenging for you. They might say, I don't want alcohol in the house. And if that's your partner and you're currently a drinker, that might be quite challenging for you. But being the best supportive partner you can be would mean following that advice. It might help you as well. But also, not being judgmental and helping that person if they're having a slip up. I think, I could imagine myself, if I had a friend who had a slip up, see, I told you, really unhealthy kind of attitude. So if your friend's having a slip up, reassure them that it's a bit of a slip up, but you're amazingly proud of what they've achieved, and you're sure they'll get going again the next day. So that sort of thing can be really powerful to hear that from someone you trust.
Okay. And I guess these people already, the fact that they're asking this question, just asking them as well, and say, I'm really proud of you. What can I do to help? Just let me know and I'll do it. And
That's
they can give
advice,
you some ideas as well. So the next one is really for people who are still drinking, but probably just want to minimise the harm that it does. So this person says, I don't drink loads, but as I've got older, I've noticed my hangovers have got worse. Do you have any advice for making them more bearable, Alex?
Now, obviously, the obvious thing is that if you don't want hangovers, not drinking is the best way. But thinking before an evening, if you know you're going to have a few drinks, think about the kind of zebra technique of having, a alcoholic drink followed by a non-alcoholic drink. So you're reducing your total number of units and making sure you're hydrated and stuff like that. Making sure you're eating before a night out. It does make a huge difference, and also can affect you the next day. If you are feeling hungover, one of the biggest things is hydration. So you need to kind of rehydrate. Alcohol dehydrates you. Drink lots of water. It also affects things like electrolytes, so making sure that you're eating well the next day, having rehydration salts and stuff like that if you need it. And the other big bit of it is sleep. So as we talked about actually in the main session, alcohol prevents you going through the cycles of sleep that allows you to feel rejuvenated the next day. So actually sleep is very important as well to kind of recover from it. But, you know, you notice it yourself, think, well, actually I had, say, 4 drinks last night, that made me feel quite hungover, perhaps next time I'll just stick to 2, you know, be aware, be mindful, and just make the changes so that you keep the balance right for you.
It's that curiosity again, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's playing
Be
around
curious.
with it, exploring it and seeing how you feel, what works for you. You might have just as much fun with 2 drinks
Exactly.
and no hangover.
Exactly.
Okay, quite a few people said they're kind of interested in being sober curious, but they don't really know where to start. So really, for both of you, I think we'll come to Alex first. What kind of questions do you think people should be asking themselves?
I think, you know, first thing I would say is, you know, what do I want out of being sober? If I'm going to stop drinking, what is it that excites me?
Back to that why,
yeah,
isn't it?
you know, I think one of the biggest things is just thinking, like, what kind of life do I want and what is it that I enjoy? I actually found for myself, one of the big things was I was spending so much money on alcohol, so I really wanted to kind of spend money on my hobbies, and one of the hobbies I wanted to start doing was riding motorbikes. Now, I'm not advertising or saying ride motorbikes instead of drinking alcohol, but if it's something that you enjoy and you're interested in, it's a hobby for you, whatever the equivalent is, kind of a great reason to have in your mind, like, I'd like to do this thing. So I started putting money aside that I would have spent on alcohol, and I put it towards buying a motorcycle. And after a year, I bought a second-hand motorcycle with that money. Other questions I'd ask is, you know, if I'm going to go alcohol-free, you know, how am I going to, you know, socialise? Where do I want to connect with people? It doesn't have to be the pub. There's lots of other places you can connect with others. And the other question before you start as well is, if I need support around this, I'm going to struggle, who do I go to? And perhaps have that conversation, talk to those people so they're ready for you.
Brilliant.
And there for you.
And Richard, anything to add to that?
Well, just to say, I think if you're curious about being sober curious, you're already sober curious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
so kind of
aware.
like, go
Well
for it,
done.
embrace that for a start. And then I would
Because it's
just
not
say,
about jumping straight to sober necessarily.
No,
so
it's the curiosity that counts. And I would say knowledge is power. So if you are drinking, and that's no big deal, but track your drinking, know what counts as a unit,
What's the
know
app
how
again?
you feel. So try Dry app.
Yeah.
It's got a really cool mood, energy, sleep, and cravings tracker.
Yeah.
And what you can find is, oh wow, you know, you can see patterns really clearly that my mood was down the day after. That will give you the incentives and the knowledge to help you make the change you want to make. It also has, interestingly, a savings calculator. Mine's now over £20,000, which partly tells you how much I
6
drank.
years, £20,000.
Yeah, well, the average adult spends £66,000 in a lifetime on alcohol.
Yeah, and I actually think for a lot of people it's probably more than that. Depending if you're living in London and you're going, if you are drinking
that's an
out,
average.
if you're drinking out, it gets very expensive. It's only becoming more expensive as well. And people are like, well, I want to spend money on other things. I literally bought a motorcycle. I have a motorcycle in my garage.
That's a great motivator, isn't it? Thinking every year potentially you could take your family on a holiday.
Literally,
Yeah.
You can go on holiday yourself. You can do a course. You can buy something you really want, or you can invest that money. You could be putting 100, 150 quid a week into investments or savings or whatever you want, really.
Okay. Well, Alex, Richard, thank you so much for answering all those bonus questions for us as well. Thanks from all of us, and thank you to you as well. You can find lots more information on Rethinking Drinking, including a recording of the full event on the Bupa Health YouTube channel.